Welcome in the latest episode of What I Bet. This is episode number 36 for May 14th, 2026. I'm your host, Real_G Warner, joined by nobody, but that's how it usually goes. We are on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, under the feed of Straight Out of Vegas AM. Also on Twitter, twitter.com, x.com/pregame now. If you want the episodes as soon as they get uploaded, you can follow me across all social media platforms at the Real_G Warner. Tonight's episode, we're going through a short soccer La Liga card in Spain. We have the NHL playoffs, a big Thursday edition, Major League Baseball, and then we'll also give you some money to save at pregame.com, plus a what I bet best bet coming end of show. We'll start in soccer because well, it's the earliest thing on the list. And if you want a matinee action, sweat, all those sort of things, get involved. We'll start with Valencia hosting Rayo Vallecano. Currently, Valencia are half goal favorites with all the juice on Rayo, so it probably means that that is more like a quarter of a goal around a lot of the marketplace using lines current as of Bet Online. With all that said, Valencia have been one of the bigger clubs in Spain for a very long time, but they have really not delivered on any of that in a very long time. So we'll see if they can actually put something together down the stretch here. The interesting part about La Liga, just to give you any address in case you hadn't listened to the previous episode from last night on What I Bet, pretty much everyone in Spain at the bottom half of the table is at risk to be relegated. So that is incredible. With three matches left to go means all these matches mean a ton. And what I think that means is really low scoring matches, which is perfect for my underdogs and under strategy, really across all sports, but specifically in soccer as well, getting ready for World Cup coming up. But Rayo Vallecano, they've done great so far. They're in Europe this season, playing the Europa Conference League, and have been trying to balance that competition as well as this La Liga, trying to stay in the league. They've done fairly well. We're entering this match day, Jornada as it's called in Spanish, match day 36. Three left to go. They play 38. They're in 10th position on 43 points. Valencia in worst position on 42 points, just 1 point behind, but two slots down. However, they're not out of the woods at all from relegation. And so this is a big matchup. I think we see a low scoring game here. So quarter of a goal underdog are Rayo Vallecano. Total in this one's 2.5 right now, just very heavily to under. Probably see this fall to 2 1/4, 2.25 before kickoff. If you're new to soccer betting, that means you get half your bet at under two, half your bet at under 2.5, lands two, you push on half your bet but win the other half. So I'm interested in a low scoring game here. It's a 12 p.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time start. If you want to see, I don't know, get into the soccer world, especially because World Cup's coming up. We're going to have a big summer. Looking forward to that on What I Bet on the pregame.com podcast network. And let's get to the next matchup on the list. That's Girona hosting Real Sociedad. Currently, Girona a half a goal favorite with all the juice on Real Sociedad. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's used very heavily to over. Now, seeing or expecting goals in Spain is something you don't really see very often. We've seen a lot of money coming in on under, probably because this total has been pretty big, especially compared to a lot of other matches this week. Girona are in much more precarious position than Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad trying to fight to Europe, but they already have Europa League berth clinched because they won the cup competition of all clubs in the Spanish continent or the Spanish country, the country of Spain, España, as they'd call it. Girona, they're in much more danger. They're one spot above relegation, which pretty much, if you get relegated, any of you have seen Ted Lasso or heard about it, probably know it pretty well. But pretty much, if you finish the bottom three in Spain, your club value gets cut in half, and you might not come back to the top division in a very long time. I'll see all these rich guys that buy these clubs and then all of a sudden lose much of their money, have to go back to work or something. Anyway, Girona have been in danger all season. They've improved a lot from a really poor start. Talked about firing their manager, all those sort of things, which happens a lot in soccer, but did not happen. And Real Sociedad did actually sack their manager. They're used to fighting for Europe. Will be back there this season, actually have an American in charge, which has been really good for them, kind of out of left field, but surprising. And it has worked because I don't think Pellegrino Matarazzo, a Italian American, speaks any sort of Basque, but here we go. Anyway, Girona are a favorite at home because they need to win this game. Real Sociedad don't really have much to play. They could finish higher in the table, but really does that matter because they can't get to Europa League, I don't think, unless they win all three of their matches and a couple of teams in front of them do not. So that's going to be really nice position for Girona. Get to play a team that doesn't really have much their eye on the ball. For that reason, I don't think I want much to do. Real Sociedad is a bigger underdog than I made it. Don't think I want to play under here either. Real Sociedad have not been an under team ever since they switched managers, and Girona need this win, and we'll probably be going for it from the kickoff. Last but not least, you have Real Madrid coming off of El Clásico, where they were crowning Barcelona champions in the big rivalry, which I can't imagine that makes them feel good. We've seen the market bet the opposing team, Real Oviedo, who are currently bottom 20th out of 20 in La Liga. Well, they've been bet down from +2, very juiced, to all the way to 1.5 goal underdogs on the road at Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. I wouldn't expect a great environment, probably one that involves a lot of whistling, which is basically the European equivalent of booing, and a lot of disappointed supporters over there in Madrid. Real Madrid 1.5 goal favorites, as I said, with all the Jews probably climbing towards 1 3/4, which is probably where most of the markets are out there. Total in this one is 3, juiced very heavily to over. It was as high as 3.5 earlier, then dipped with a lot of money coming bet on the under. Well, now we have even money on under 3. That's probably my biggest interest. If you like Real Oviedo, you're probably not expecting a high scoring game because they can't score goals. Real Madrid has certainly scored more goals than they've I guess their offense has been better than their defense so far this season. We'll see if that continues. I'm not really sure I want much for that one. So probably biggest interest in the Spanish continent on Thursday matchups is probably that Rayo Vallecano under 2.5 or 2.25 goals. We'll now move to the NHL. We have two really, really big games, and I got to say, I got a lot of thoughts on the NHL card for this portion. Currently, the Montreal Canadiens are visiting the Buffalo Sabres, and they're currently a +101 underdog. Total is 6 in this one, juiced all the way to under, -120 to +104, coming back on the over. I played Montreal side and under the last two games in Montreal. Sadly, split both of them. First one, I think I was deserving of a Montreal victory. Total was dead pretty early, but the last game was all Montreal, all under, and Buffalo got a game tying goal off of a sideboard bounce off the shoulder of the goaltender, which is honestly unbelievable, especially for a Buffalo Sabres power play. It's been so bad over, I don't know, this entire playoff season. Entering the playoffs has been really, really embarrassing, I think I'd almost call it. But somehow they found a way, and here we are now where somehow the series is tied, and I don't know really how it got there, but it is. Now Buffalo, I guess, has some belief in themselves. Do they deserve it? I'm not sure, but at this point, good for them, I guess, and maybe offers us a way to make some money against them. So lean pretty strongly to Montreal as a very, very short underdog. +101 is really, really small, but I think it's deserved, and any plus money I think gives me enough reason to bet on the road team. Buffalo has not looked good at home in any of their playoff games so far this season. Boston really dominated there in the first round, but were a really bad team and didn't do anything at home. Maybe Buffalo's road warriors. I don't think so. I just think that that's probably not the best side that I could ever want. And honestly, I lean under because I don't expect Buffalo to score much. I think they play really defensively, and I think we see Montreal play more defensively away from home. The next matchup, the nightcap, is the Vegas Golden Knights visiting the Anaheim Ducks. Awesome game 5 that ended up taking a series that was tied at 2 to 3-2 Vegas, despite having their best defensive pair altered by one of them being ejected in the first period, giving up a 5-minute power play, and Anaheim only scoring once because Vegas's power play defense has been incredible this postseason. But now they go into the Game 6 in Anaheim, where Anaheim has done very, very well. I mean, they won both games, or they split both in the first two in Vegas, then split in Anaheim. Vegas then comes and wins a game in overtime in game 5, which is huge for swinging this series. But honestly, any Anaheim Ducks +145 bet, I think, was plus expected value. And I think I could argue that till the cows come home. But currently, the Knights are -108 to the Ducks -106. Total in this one is 6, juiced very heavily to over -115 to -101 on the Ducks. I'm not really sure if I have much of a feel for the total, but I will say I'm very interested in backing the road team, or excuse me, the home team here, the Anaheim Ducks. I think they get a win here and extend this series to game 7. So that does it for the NHL portion of the show. Let's now get to the baseball portion, and we'll start in a bunch of day games on Thursday. We'll start with the Colorado Rockies visiting the Pittsburgh Pirates. We got Caleb Dollander for the Rockies. I don't know, big arm, but Dollander. He's visiting Carmen Mlodzinski from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mlodzinski, the -171 favorite, total is 7.5, juice more to the over in this one. Mlodzinski's got a good arm, but he is so inconsistent. I think the only way I'd look is probably a Rockies run line, but it's very juice -142 at current. Next, go to the Washington Nationals and Foster Griffin visiting the Cincinnati Reds and Chase Burns. Burns -155, totals 8.5, juice all the way to under. I mean, the Nationals offense is grossly overperformed expectations so far this season. This is going to be a real big test for them to actually do well against Chase Burns. Next, we go to the Tigers, visiting New York Mets. We got Cater Montero at Nolan McLean. Currently, McLean minus 166, total 7.5, juice more to the under. The Tigers have been really struggling defensively, lost a lot of their bullpen arms, and Cater Montero is really a Major League Baseball yo-yo player, equivalent of in half a season, it seems to be in AAA, half in the big leagues. But I think he's done well, has proven that he can stay in the rotation, though the Tigers are missing Tarek Skubal and others in that rotation as we speak. Tigers look very interesting to me at plus 150, big number. McLean's good, but the Mets have been really bad to start the season, and I trust AJ Hinch, so give me the Tigers plus 150. Next, we go to the Padres and Griffin Canning, another Griffin. Two of them so far on this card, the baseball card. Milwaukee Brewers start Kyle Harrison. Harrison minus 140, total is 8. Just more to the under. If I had more faith in my alter ego, Griffin Canning, yes, he was off to a great start last year, then ripped his Achilles, but he's only a couple starts into his return to Major League Baseball. I'll lean to the Padres plus 127. Love their bullpen, and I guess that pushes me towards under. I just don't really trust Kyle Harrison, though he struck out everyone in the minors, then got traded from the Giants to the Red Sox, then to the Brewers, and has played in like three organizations in a few months. The Marlins, speaking of, then bring up Braxton Garrett off of his, I think, Tommy John rehab. He's visiting Connor Freelip and the Minnesota Twins. Not sure about Connor, but I know it's Freelip. Right now, the Twins are minus 120, totals 8.5, and the juice is split both ways. I'm interested in the Marlins. I feel like they are a better team with a better bullpen because Minnesota doesn't have one. Seattle then starts Luis Castillo, the Rock, on the road at the Houston Astros. Mike Burrows off a really good start his last outing. We'll see if he's somewhat put it together. But the Astros plus 116 at home, total is 9, juiced very heavily to over. I don't know that I can trust Luis Castillo, what he's done so far this season. Certainly, I trust his track record, but as a road favorite of this size, give me Houston. We'll next move to the St. Louis Cardinals and Michael McGreevy. He's visiting the Athletics and Jacob Lopez. Lopez minus 111 at home, total is 10, juiced all the way to under minus 125. McGreevy's been good. St. Louis has been one of the best teams, if not the best, in Major League Baseball on the road this season. And Jacob Lopez has missed bats previous seasons, but not this year. So give me St. Louis plus 101. Next, go to the Philadelphia Phillies in a later start, 5:45 Central, 6:45 Eastern time, visiting the Boston Red Sox Ranger Suarez. Currently Suarez plus 100 at home, facing out his whole team. Total is 7.5, just more to the under. And generally I'd like under, but I don't like that in Fenway Park. Like the home underdog plus 100. Just don't know if the Phillies are the Phillies just yet. Now we get deeper in the later slate, three more games to go before we get a promo code and the What I Bet Best Bet. We'll start with Chicago Cubs, Ben Brown visiting the Atlanta Braves and Chris Sale. Sale minus 155, total 7.5, juice more to the over. And Brown was awesome in his first start, his return to the rotation at Texas, which is unfortunately problematic because the Rangers can't hit. The ballpark is huge, but he did a really good job coming out of a setup or closing role to then all of a sudden come back into the starting rotation and pitch really well. I'll pay to see that. So give me the Braves. Probably look towards a minus one, so you push on a single run victory. Would lean under, but that's a really tough park to play anything under the total. Next, we go to the Kansas City Royals. Chris Bubich visiting the Chicago White Sox and Anthony Kay. Kay at plus 116 underdog at home. Total is 8, juice more to the over. I like to be against Chris Bubich as much as I can. I'm not really sure he deserves the prices that he gets. So give me Chicago White Sox plus 116. Last but not least, San Francisco Giants and Landon Root plus 149 at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Emmett Sheehan minus 165. Total is 8, just very heavily to over, as it probably should be. Landon Root's been great this year. Really the only San Francisco Giants pitcher with a pulse, it seems to me. Emmett Sheehan, not really beloved by the Los Angeles Dodgers so far this season. Total's high, bullpens are good, at least on the Dodgers side, but I think this could get away from the Giants fairly quickly. So I don't know that I got much interest in plus 149. So before we get to the What I Bet Best Bet, let's get out and get there for some money to save you at pregame.com. Use the promo code SHINE10. S is in Sam, H is Hotel, I is in India, N is in Nancy, E is in Echo, 10, good for $10 off anything, including rest of May all access. Get every pick and every sport from our favorite pro through May 31st for less money than normal 7-day all access price. So basically get the next 18 days for the price of 7. Rest of May all access is available now for $99, but only pay $89 if you use the coupon SHINE10. It's good through May 26th. You got a while to use it, but make sure you throw it in there. Certainly makes a lot more sense to get as many days as possible of all access. For a favorite handicapper, could be me, Griffin Warner, or any of the other great pregame.com handicappers. Pick one who's hot and go ride them the rest of the month. So for What I Bet Best Bet, which I told you was coming, it's here. Let's go with the Chicago White Sox plus 116 at home to the Kansas City Royals. We'll see you next episode of What I Bet. Three, two, one. Hey, this is Real underscore G Warner. This is what I bet, best bet, specifically the short version. You get a full podcast going through the NHL, the La Liga in Spain, and everything from the Major League Baseball card on Thursday, May 14th. But for my best bet in this episode, 7-5-1 last 13 with the Phillies over 9 pending from Wednesday, May 13th. Let's go with the Chicago White Sox. They're an underdog at home to Chris Bubich. Anthony K plus 116. Love the way White Sox have played. They are a couple seasons removed from being the worst team in baseball history, but they've improved. The Royals have been playing really, really well. I just don't know that I trust Chris Bubich. I feel like whenever you think he's got a good matchup, he's going to throw a good game, he doesn't do it. So give me Chicago plus 116. They played competitively. I think we can do it even longer, and they're at home, and I love home underdogs.